Here in Denver, Colorado, covering CPAC Colorado, we are honored to be joined by the governor of the great state of Kansas, Sam Brownback. Governor Brownback, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
So we had the debate. You are an old hand at running for office and being part of this process. First of all, talk about the process itself and talk about the winners and losers of the debate yesterday.
I thought Mitt Romney did an outstanding job. I mean, you know, and I thought even a lot of it's style and kind of how you come across in the camera. I thought he did a really nice job of presenting a nice visage, open, and it was like a reintroduction of Mitt Romney, or maybe even a first introduction of Mitt Romney to the public. Even though he's been running for president all this period of time, it's the first time people tuned in. I thought he did a great job of it.
You've been in debates before. You know, what is it like when you're on stage like that? What is the process like, and you know, what are the nerves like? You know, tell us about an insider's view of a debate.
Yeah, well, it's tough. I loved Reggie Jackson's comment about this when he gets up to the plate, and he was saying, it isn't that you try to calm yourself, it's that you try to allow yourself to be calmed. And I thought that was a good distinction. You know, for me, you rely on your faith and say, Lord, I give it to you. You know, it's whatever's going to happen. And there's a lot of jitters with it, but then usually once you get into it, it goes well. And I thought Mitt Romney really showed a nice mastery of the facts and the ideas. And I thought it showed also that President Obama hasn't been debating for 4 years. And so he didn't come across quite so well.
So as chief executive of the state of Kansas, is Kansas leaning red or solid red?
It's red. Our entire congressional delegation is Republican. Now I'm the first conservative governor in 50 years in the state of Kansas, but it really has gone that way. And I think what has happened is people have looked at the two sides and the two ideas of liberal conservative and said, you know what, we just really like this philosophy better. It's not perfect. We think there are things that ought to be different in different places, but overall I'm just a lot more comfortable with this set of ideas, and I want my country going that way too.
Talk about your employment levels in Kansas, talk about your successes as governor, and talk about you know, some of your fellow state governors who I've been fortunate to talk to, you know, pushing back against some of the dictates from Washington, D.C.
What an exciting time to be a Republican governor that's reform-minded. I mean, honestly, I liken it a little bit to coming in '94 with the first Republican class in 40 years to run the House of Representatives, and I was in that class. It's the same way, in that government has to change. It is too expensive, it's not delivering its services effectively enough, and we've got to get growth happening. And everybody going, yeah. Well, and now you got a series of Republican governors that are doing just that. I went from a $500 million budget hole projected to a $500 million surplus in 2 budget cycles.
How'd you do that?
No tax increases, and it's paying attention to the little things. It's how much are we paying on that building rent? What are we doing here? Do we really need to do these 3 things, or can we put them into one? And then doing it. And then we had to do pension reforms and get into a defined contribution type of system. And then we've got to get our employment levels up, so we dropped our taxes to 0 on LLC and Subchapter S business organizations to create jobs, and we're getting new jobs, 17,000 new private sector jobs this last year. So it's happening, and it's a great class of Republican governors that I came in with that things are moving with. These ideas will now migrate federally as you prove them at the state.
It's funny because I would imagine people who are watching and listening in the state of California would do anything for this kind of news.
Well, and you know, and America needs a strong California. We all recruit out of California. I recruit out of California, and we have net immigration to Kansas from California. Because their tax level is so high, people are saying, you know, I love California, but I can't afford to stay there. And that's why these sort of changes are so important to be done at the state level to prove the concept, and they are working.
Talk about finally the tradition of the Second Amendment. We talk a lot to Patricia Stoneking from the Kansas State Rifle Association. We know Kansas is very big on the Second Amendment. Talk about your feelings on it and what you do to protect it in your beautiful state.
Well, you got to stand by it. The Constitution doesn't allow you to pick and choose, saying, okay, I like the first, I'm not sure about the second or the third, the fourth. And it holds together when you do the whole thing. When you say you have a right to bear arms, and it is an individual right, as the Supreme Court has recently ruled, and you need to stand by that. And the system works better if you follow the parameters and the rules of it, and the Second Amendment is included on, and it's a big deal in our state. Of course, a lot of us raised using guns. I was raised on a farm. We had a rifle around a lot. You used it. You know, it's a part of really you celebrating and being able to have your own rights as a free society and as a free individual.
Why should our listeners and our viewers come to your state if they have hunting and sport and fishing dollars to spend?
Oh, should they? Pheasant hunting. We're second best in the country, and look out South Dakota, we're coming for you. Ours are wilder, tastier, bigger. You know, it's a better hunt. We got a great deer season in the state. It's a great hunt, and I'm really celebrating the outdoors. I've got a governor's annual pheasant hunt now. We started it last year, continuing it. Really getting a lot of interest, and it's a beautiful way to get exercise and to reconnect people, family members, and reconnect to the outdoors.
Governor Brownback, honored to talk to you, Sue. Thank you.
My pleasure.